Welcome to the Honest Hour. I'm your host, Luis Acevedo, and there's a little bit to talk about today. Yesterday, we did two streams because a lot has come up. You got a TYP typo. Yeah, it happens. It happens. It's all good. It's not that big of a deal that there's a typo. Um, anyway, so thank you. Hopefully, this is going to be a good live. That's the plan, anyway. So this is the Honest Hour. As I said, we've rearranged the times. But yesterday we did two streams. The second stream yesterday, we covered a lot of unfolding events that took place. And this stream, we have a couple things that we really want to talk about and let some people in. And, for this one, since there isn't too much to really discuss, and we can have free flowing conversations with everything, we will just be letting people in. For those viewers on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, the topics are Ukraine is a testing ground for US and NATO, the world is falling apart, and humans merge with robots, i.e., transhumanism. We have somebody that wants to come in on TikTok, so we're going to let them in, and this will sort of be more so a free flowing interaction that we're going to have. I will address some of the main talking points, though. But here we go. We'll let this guy in, or a woman. Don't know who it is.
Hey, what's good, brother?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Hey, man. Hey, so you say are you saying that the world is falling apart? Is that what you're saying in your opinion, or is that just a topic?
It is a topic based on the civil unrest taking place across the world, from European countries to breaking news in China, and current economic systems, political
In my
systems.
opinion, though, I think the main place falling apart right now is the USA. Like, I think the USA is crumbling right now. Like, it's a shit show right now. Like, the inflation is bad. Everything's just going bad. I mean, I feel like people don't want to work as much anymore. Our government's kind of falling apart. The flaws are kind of getting shown more. Like, there's getting more publicity on the like racism and systematic racism in the government, but still, like, the government's falling apart. Like, everything's just kind of falling apart, and we're wasting money on things we shouldn't be spending money on.
Yeah. I mean, I agree
Like,
for
we
the
got
most
people
part.
starving out here. They literally can't even afford a potato, but we give $50 billion to Ukraine.
Yeah, I get the point that you're making for sure. I don't agree with the money that we're giving to Ukraine. I think it's insane. We're losing the war. Ukraine has
Exactly.
basically admitted they're just a testing ground for the weapons of the USA and NATO. So they're essentially just showing us that we'll get our butts kicked by Russia, is what it is. So, and we'll get our butts kicked by China. We already know that there's a military problem as well. I mean, the military is going quote unquote woke. They're having issues retaining members, recruiting members. So
Yeah,
if we go to war,
because this next generation is just a bunch of pussies. I mean, nobody's gonna want to go fight a war. Like, unless you want to have a front lines of a bunch of trans people. Like,
let's be careful. Let's be careful on our language here. I'm agreeing with you, but TikTok is very sensitive. I get what you're saying.
Watch my language then. Sorry, I'm not like, I don't really know the rules and shit.
Yeah, so just so everybody's aware, when you come on here and you're saying anything that would be considered politically incorrect, just use, if you're going to say what he just said, say the T word. Say, something like that along
Yeah,
those
but
lines.
like the T words on the front lines, like, man, like, we don't have any like fighting, like, we don't have any fighting men anymore, or fighting soldiers. It doesn't even have to be men. It's just we don't have any fighting people. Like, people don't want to stand for the country because everyone just thinks it's corrupt. Nobody wants to fight for something that they don't like. Nobody wants to fight for the country anymore. It's just that simple. Nobody wants to fight for us.
I don't want to fight for the country as it currently is. I mean,
yeah. See, nobody wants to fight for it because I mean, it's just people don't have any belief in this country anymore. That's going to be our downfall. The disbelief.
Yeah, I do agree that nihilism is a huge issue, and it has a lot to do with the moral collapse of our society.
No way this person just said T people are stronger than most.
I know, you can ignore it. It's just trolling.
Yeah, I know people in the comments just say some like wreck stuff, bro.
Right.
But no, it's not even like about the people. I was making a joke more or less on that. I'm just saying in general, nobody has a fighting spirit anymore. Like, it's not like back in Afghanistan where we had to push because they were crashing planes and killing innocent lives. There was a push. People wanted to go defend our country and save the innocent lives. But now, like, who? If we went to war with Russia, when are you enlisting? I'm actually planning on enlisting next year.
Don't enlist. No. That's insane. Nobody should be enlisting right now. What? So you can get ejected with a bunch of trial poisons, and so that way you're the government's slave, and so that way you're going to fight banker wars. That's insane. Stay home, build a family. That's if you really want to be an American quote unquote patriot. The best thing you can do is find a good woman and start a family. Not go try to protect this country. This country is falling apart. This country will probably balkanize. It probably won't be the United States within our lifetime. So it's insane. And what war are you going to go fight? Who are you going to go fight? You want to go over there and fight and defend Ukrainians? That's insane. You want to defend America from Russians? Russians are doing more for the world than the U.S. is doing for the world. China is doing more for the world than the U.S. is doing more for the world on a positive note. They are. Russia is over there saying, hey, you want to do inappropriate pictures in front of our beautiful churches? You go to jail. Look it up. Happened. A young couple, young, good-looking couple, did a provocative picture where the woman was on her knees, looked like she was giving the man you know what. They're fully clothed. And the guy was in front of her standing, and they were with the church in the backdrop. They went to jail for it. Russia is doing more to keep a moral higher standard than the United States. The United States, as you said, has no belief. So why would you go fight for a country that has no belief? It's nihilistic. It's pointless.
You're right. But I think why should I'm not gonna answer any more comments because they're gonna make me mad. But what I think is right. I want to fight because I don't know why. I still have belief in this country that it can go fight back. Because the thing about Russia is Russia doesn't care how other countries look upon them. They do what they think is right. The problem with the U.S. is we care so much because we have so much influence. If we started doing things correctly, trying to make our country strong again, everyone would look at us and just say we were horrible people. That's why they don't do it.
And you know how you do it? I'm telling you how you do it. The way you do it is you start a family. You pray to God. You have a homestead. You start growing your own food. And if you can't do that, if you can't grow your own food and have your own homestead, be close with a local farmer. These are the solutions. Start a business that is catered to your skills and what you know. These are ways, if you really want to rebuild America to its old way of being, that how we romanticize it, have a huge family. Do not go fight for America because that's not a good idea. Don't do that. Defend your family. Protect your family. Be there.
Honestly, yeah, you're right. Because if I'm being perfectly honest, I probably still will, just because I'm already I've already took my ass bath. I'm already ready to go. I'm ready to go. But what I'm saying is I get what you're saying, right? Why would I want to go fight for a bunch of people who don't care? There's people out here saying trans people are stronger than, or T people are stronger than the army. There's people out here saying that the military doesn't do anything and they don't care, and all those lives that have died, they don't care about them. People just have no care in the world anymore.
I agree.
Do for them.
It's like they're agree.
I don't know that person, so why should I care? It's like that person is the reason why you get to sit home and say this shit. They fought so you can talk like this.
Debatable. Tell me one time that you remember from recorded history that the United States has fought a war to protect our rights.
The Civil War.
That's even debatable. That's even debatable that they fought for our rights, because that war is so misunderstood. But we won't go down that rabbit hole.
Well,
but
actually,
even if I concede on that point to you, even if I concede to that,
since the British people,
even if I concede that point to you, the Civil War, then why would you go fight for a country that isn't defending your rights?
What do you mean? Say that.
So I asked you, when was the last time that the American country, the American military, has fought for our rights? And your answer was the Civil War. So no war since then has fought for your rights. So why would you want to go in a military that doesn't even
for other people's rights?
But why does that matter? They're not your rights. You are an American. You're saying America's falling apart. So why not? And you're concerned about America falling apart. Why not fix your country before you try and go fix other countries? is my point. It makes no
I don't.
sense.
I
It's
don't know.
illogical.
See, that's what I have. That's what I told you. I told you we're too worried about everyone else and the influence we have upon them that we can't fix ourselves. It's gonna kill us if America keeps going down this path and we don't fix the country and we just keep doing what we're doing now. We're just too focused on.
So why do you want to join the military that's going to help build allegedly other countries and not America?
I don't know.
You are literally going against your own rationale right now to join the military. You can ultimately do what you want to do. I can't convince you any other way. I'm just saying from your own standpoint, your own belief and logic, you're going against both of them.
Yeah, I mean, but I still have that like American in me that's telling me to go fight.
The American in you, the way you fight, the real war is at home, my friend. The real war is to raise a family and treat and show your kids how to be strong. Show your kids what it's like to be a man and how they build. You don't go do any of that in the military. I know I have plenty of friends that are veterans. They would much prefer to be starting a family than doing what they did. They would much prefer that because it's more productive to have a family. It's more American to have a family. America wasn't built by soldiers. America was built by farmers and pioneers.
Yeah. That is right, though. The colonists did make America.
So if you really had the American spirit, then you would do the opposite of what you're talking about because you don't have the American spirit. You have the globalist spirit that wants you to go and die in a foreign land for nothing.
I don't want to go do that. That's for sure.
So then don't join the military. You can do what you want to do. I'm just saying, don't do it. It's insane.
Yeah. Wait, how is sitting at my home defending my family going to change things? America's
easy. I'm telling you how. Because do you know what the network effect is?
No. Gotta tell me.
Do you know what Bitcoin is?
Yeah, I know what Bitcoin is.
All right. So the network effect became a popular term known with Bitcoin. So basically, you have this thing that becomes popular because people are like, wow, this has utility. This is something that we can use. And so then more people are like, okay, yeah, I want some of that Bitcoin. I want some of that Bitcoin. Next thing you know, the whole world knows about it, the network effect, right? So you tell your network about this cool thing, and then your network tells people within their network, right? You following? So then you know people that know people you don't know. And so it spreads out and spreads out and spreads out. Now, how does this relate? Yes, and how does this relate to having a family? Well, if you have a family that is extremely moral and you're raising them right, you have a good wife, you have good kids, guess what? You might have a network effect in your community. And then that community may have a network effect out into your city. You following? So this is how it starts. This is how you replenish. You do it by building and fixing the sin in your life. Don't go out there trying to. There's a good verse in the Bible where it was like, why are you trying? Don't point at the plank in somebody else's eye when you still have a speck in yours. Take the speck out of your eye so that way you can see clearly, and then you can do stuff. But before you do anything, I would suggest finding a good woman, starting a family, and I would also suggest finding God if you haven't. You'll also have a network effect in the military. You can have that effect any way you go. I know, but what's the aftermath of that in the military is the whole point. It's not good. The people who, yeah, I don't agree with that. I think, yeah, that's insane.
Yeah. But, I mean, also, you're right, because really, if I defend my family and I, like, before, right, when the British came here and fought us, it was just a bunch of farmers. I mean, farmers with guns. So, like, really, if you want to defend your homelands, I guess you could just own an AR. Bam. Anything happens, you got a weapon.
Yeah, I mean, why would you? Really, the only obligation you have to defend is your family. So if you're going to defend anything and you got that fighting spirit, gear it towards, once again, providing and protecting a family.
And honestly, I could do farming. Don't they get paid pretty good, farmers?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It really depends. I mean, it's a really hard field, really hard career, but
Yeah.
it's not even that you have to be a farmer. You can just have a very valuable skill. I mean, what if you knew how to
Yep.
turn a wrench really well? You could fix any motor, whether it be a car motor to a lawnmower's motor, right? If you had that skill, you're very valuable. If you knew how to plumb, if you knew plumbing, very valuable. Electrical work, very valuable. Construction work, very valuable. Hell, even learning how to sell and market, extremely valuable skills. Just find a skill set that's going to be around forever. And we know that handiwork is going to be around forever. Sales and marketing is going to be around forever. So cater to your skills, man. Cater to your skills. Focus on that and build your family around that.
Man, you have really good morals.
Thank you.
I know I know that's like something you probably don't hear a lot, but I think you do have really good morals.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of hate on TikTok, so nobody thinks that. They think I'm a racist, bigot, homophobe, misogynist.
Everyone gets that a lot.
Yeah.
If you're a white male, that's just what they revert to.
I mean, look at this.
Any other opinion besides theirs?
His morals are insane. See, what is failing apart? Falling apart. Falling apart. Yes, I know. Sometimes I can come across as an illiterate peasant because I have typos in the topics that I literally write moments before I come on here. Unlike a lot of you guys on here. Well, no, I accept it. I spelled it the way that it's spelled. I know I did. But a lot of you guys don't even have the courage to say, I'm going to take action. I'd rather analyze something for 15 years before I take action. Unlike you, I'm a man of action. I don't care that there's a typo. I'm not going to stop this stream, fix it because people are in here saying, what is this and what is that? I don't care. I'm a man of action. I just do stuff. Just curious. You have everything else in caps. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying because many people have said in the chat right now there's typos, this and that. So I'm like, hey guys, who cares? You know what I'm saying? Even if it is the world is failing apart, you catch my drift.
Yeah, I know what you were saying.
So you effed up? Yeah, I know I did. I accept it and I keep on rolling.
I mean, people aren't perfect, man.
Yeah, and who cares? I don't care. You just got to keep on rolling. But yeah, man, don't get into the military. Focus on building up a strong skill. Become a very valuable person in your society, in your community, and don't. I wouldn't recommend necessarily chasing girls either. Just focus on building up a good skill set and becoming valuable in your community. Yes.
Thank you for telling me this. I really like your. You are a very motivational person. I'm gonna get down so this person can come up.
Awesome.
And yeah. All right.
Thank you, man. You have a good one.
You too. You too.
All right. So we got Hey Dude Beer 12. Hey, what's going on?
Oh man, I would love to fuck a robot, man. Like, is that what you mean by that?
No, not at all.
Okay. So what does that mean?
Do you know what merge means? Do you know what fuse? Like to fuse
like
together?
Cyborg?
I'm sorry.
Like a cyborg?
Yeah, I mean, you can say it's like a cyborg. Yes.
We already are cyborgs.
That's insane, but anyway, I know there's a thought of that, but that makes no sense.
Look at what you're streaming on right now, man. You carry that all around.
I know.
All day.
I know that's an Elon Musk talking point, but it's not true. I'm not one with my machine. I am a human being separate from my machine. My machine is a tool that I use to allow me to communicate. It does not mean I am merged with my phone. That is insane.
Speaking of Elon Musk, would you get that Neuralink?
No, I would not.
Why?
Why do I need it? Right now, it's only catered towards severely cognitive disabled people. And by that, I mean
it helps like a bunch of things.
Yeah, but I don't have Alzheimer's. I don't have epilepsy. It would do nothing for me right now. Why would I need it? That's what it's geared towards right now. You do know that, right? It is geared towards those medical illnesses that are having a hard time with cure, with some sort of cure. That's what it's geared towards right now. That's what it's for. So why would I get it right now? I have none of those things. I would not be a qualified candidate to get one.
What about you heard he's trying to make a phone that's like solar powered?
No, I did not.
Yeah, would you get that?
I don't know.
I think when he drops that phone, he's gonna tear Apple apart.
Yeah, Elon Musk is a liar. I mean, he hasn't really I mean, I don't know. I don't have much faith in anything that he does.
Do you think he really put the Tesla up in space?
No, he even admitted that it looks so that it's real because it looks so fake. Therefore, it's fake.
I don't know, man. It's tough, I guess. So when you say the world is falling apart, like what exactly do you mean?
So, all of our current structures, as far as political and economical go, on the Western world, they are struggling. If you look at what's going on in Europe, specifically, Europe is rioting everywhere. Then we get a question: do you think the Earth is flat? I don't know what shape the Earth is, and anybody who's being honest with themselves will concede to that point because nobody objectively knows, at least in this chat. So,
Yeah,
anyway,
satellites.
yeah, but we don't know if, I mean, for instance, NASA is the biggest consumer of helium because they use helium balloons to set up the satellites. Anyway, and also there's a bunch of articles showing that the fallen satellites have helium balloons attached to them, that they were never actually in Earth's gravitational pull. But anyway, that's a whole nother topic. But the world is falling apart. If we look at what's going on right now with this globalist agenda to try and collectivize all the food and the economy as a whole, well, Italy's rioting, Poland's rioting. Who else is rioting? Germany is going to start doing so. China's now rioting because their banks are not allowing their citizens to access funds. And there's this one bank in particular in Henan that is considering savings accounts as investment products and can't be withdrawn. So Chinese people, the Chinese government is now sending out tanks to protect their banks. So the world is kind of falling apart. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. There's a lot of opportunities.
I mean, I would consider it a bad thing, but if you like I guess if you were president of the United States, like what would you do to fix this?
Well, I wouldn't do anything for the other countries. I would focus on what we're going to do here. I mean, the first thing I would do is, I'll have to word this very tactfully, but I would not allow anybody in. Would be the first thing I'd do. Completely done with that.
You mean illegally? Just illegally?
No, I mean altogether.
Why?
It's why we already have too many issues. So why let more in? Just end it. Focus on what you have here, and try to get your books right as far as the Federal Reserve goes. I don't know. I'm not the president of the United States. That's a really hard job to have. So I don't know. I mean, but that would be one of the major things I do. That would definitely help out tremendously. But I don't know what else I would do. I'm not running for president, so.
You gonna vote Bernie for the next election?
No, I don't know that I will be voting for a president anytime soon.
Even if you like them?
We'll see. We'll see. But it's much more important to focus on your local politics than it is the president of the United States, because the president of the United States is so far out of reach, whereas your local politicians actually affect your life directly, and you may not even know it. Your sheriff is probably the strongest, most influential, maybe not strongest, but the most influential, powerful individual you know in your area, you have access to in your area, that maybe you can vote for. So,
No, I get that, but I'm also trying to feel the burn too, though. Honestly,
I mean, if you want to go down that route, you can pursue it if you wish. It's not advised, but nobody here is going to
I mean,
stop you.
college, college for all, Medicare for all, legalize the MJ. You know what I mean? I think that's a pretty good start.
Why do you want to send more people to indoctrination camps?
No, I think college is good depending on what you want to do with your life.
For what exactly?
If you want to be a lawyer, for example, or a doctor.
Abraham Lincoln didn't go to law school, and he was a really good lawyer.
I know, but like I feel like the college provides you more information than just like Google, you know.
I mean, I can access academic studies from my computer. May have to pay for them, but I can access them. I have the same access as university does.
I just don't think it'll be as in depth. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it won't teach you as well.
You know, there are like you can hire a private tutor.
Sure, yeah, but
So lawyers. So you think we need colleges for lawyers? What else?
doctors.
Okay. What else?
I mean, you don't need it for business, but I guess I can help you with that.
Debatable. I have two businesses, and I have no business degree.
I mean, do you think it would concede? You would concede that it would like give you some type of boost?
Not at all. I think it would slow you down. What people should be doing is taking action as opposed, and you know what? Some fields I will concede. I do think that I would like to have a properly trained doctor, a properly trained surgeon.
For sure.
As far as a lawyer goes, yeah, I mean, our system is kind of complex. Our law schools do provide a good standardized understanding of the law in particular, in specifically, and in particular instances as well. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. But everything else, I don't know. I don't know that you need it.
I mean, do you believe in college for all?
No, I think that it's a failure, especially on the father's part of their kids seek college for anything aside from, let's say, being a surgeon.
I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like it's something that people should have to be successful in life.
Yeah, I don't agree at all. My parents didn't even graduate high school; they got their GEDs, and my dad's in the top 1% of earners.
I mean,
he was street smart.
He's just as good as a diploma, though.
Yeah, well, it's different than college, though, and that's what we're talking about.
No, I know you could make it to college with a GED. You could actually make it to Harvard with a GED.
But that's not what I'm talking about. We're talking about it'll help you become successful. I don't agree. I mean, the only way that it does is in that it may give you good connections. Aside from that, what good is it?
I mean, just because, I mean, you wouldn't use it, I feel like it should just be open for the people who would, though.
Yeah, I don't agree. I think that if you're going to I think the way that you make colleges better, you make them much harder to get into. You make them much more selective. That way you increase the integrity of college. The integrity of college has been stripped away because they let in anybody. Not everybody should be going to college. Not everybody's equipped to go to college.
But can't you say the same thing about like high school?
You can, and I would agree with that as well. Some people, they're not fit for school, and so they'd rather be turning a wrench. Let them turn a wrench. There's nothing wrong with turning a wrench. It's very valuable to do so. I was a mechanic for quite some time. I have nothing against that particular field. I say that you cater to the strengths of your citizens and you don't put them all through this cookie cutter system. I think you make it much more adaptable to your citizens. That way, their strengths will rise. The ones that are really good at what they do, they'll go into that profession.
Yeah, I get that. I just feel like if high school is publicly funded, like I don't know why college would be any different.
Yeah, I don't think that high school should be publicly funded either. I don't think parents should be delegating. I don't think parents should be delegating their responsibility as parents to soulless institutions. I think it's the parents' duty to homeschool their child.
Oh, I didn't know that. Damn. I mean, so what if they're like in a single parent household and they got to go to work? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so there's community homeschools.
I mean, community as in you go to some type of center.
Community as in there's church that homeschool. There's other parents that will homeschool other children.
Yeah. I just feel like it like public funded. It's just a lot more good on the citizens' pockets. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't agree, but I guess we can agree to disagree.
Yeah, because like if you have someone in like Section 8, for example, like I don't think they could really hire like some type of
You don't
homeschool
hire.
person.
You don't hire. I mean, these are just programs that you can get involved in, especially at your local church. A lot of local churches offer this, and it's no cost to you.
I mean, I don't know. What if you're not Christian?
Okay, well then find another route. There's other ways.
I don't know, man. I just think you need to turn to Allah.
Okay.
And
you know, mosque.
I feel like-
You know, they're some of the most base people. Islamic people are some of the most base people I know, and I heard of. They're extremely base. They get it.
Yeah.
And they would
Yeah,
agree, and a
of
lot of
course.
them would agree exactly with what I'm saying. I mean,
So
hell,
I-
a lot
I
of them are
assume
like,
you're
no, my wife isn't leaving the house. That's what a lot of Muslims would say. And they're base. They get it. They're like, yo, you're going to raise our children. You're going to educate them. So, I mean, if we're going to bring Muslims into the mix, Muslims would agree with me, by and large.
so like I assume like did you vote for Trump?
Not in 2020. I did vote for him in 2016.
No. So like what changed your mind about that?
Operation Warp Speed and his position on locking down the world was the biggest one.
Locking
Biggest
down
two.
the world in terms of what, like COVID?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so you think Biden's a better fit?
No, I didn't vote for anybody in 2020. Matter of fact, I told people not to vote in 2020. You can go back and look at it. I agree. I almost exactly predicted why you shouldn't vote in 2020. It was a pointless endeavor. Let's just put it that way.
Do you think it was rigged at all?
I can't really say on here.
Okay.
That should
Okay,
answer
so
your
I know the
question.
answer then. So like I even if you don't like the candidate, like I feel like you gotta pick between both sides, like which one is like worse, and then you vote for like the slightly better one. You know what I mean? Even if you don't like them.
No, I don't know what you mean. I don't believe in voting for lesser evils. I believe in voting for no evil.
No, but if you had to pick, because
I didn't.
A lot of people say Biden and Trump.
You didn't have to pick. It's a false belief that you have to pick. You don't have to pick. You have the right not to choose as well.
Well, yeah, if you don't vote though, like the more evil dude will probably take office, and then
Debatable.
you have to deal with that.
Debatable, but either way, Why would you vote for evil anyway?
Just to, well, I mean, like I said,
You're
like
still
if
voting for
that's your
evil.
only option.
But you know it's not. You're still voting for evil.
I know, but no, I understand, right? But like, if those are your only options, you might as well pick the less.
They're
evil,
not
though, you
though.
know what I mean?
They're not. They're not your only two options. You have an option
So
not to vote for evil.
Biden and Trump weren't the only options.
Yeah, I chose not to vote. I chose not to vote for either evil. And I chose to focus on my local community. I chose to worry about my family over who the president of the United States is.
Ryan Shaw in the comments says self-defense isn't evil. Nah, that's cap, bro. Like, what? Self-defense is not evil, dude.
Yeah, self-defense is not evil.
Yeah, I'm a big 2A guy.
Yeah, right on. Me too.
Yeah, you know, at least we agree with something. You know what I mean? I hate how people trying to take all these guns. You know.
Yeah, I agree with you. But hey, man, we got some other people that want to come in here. I'm only allowing one person at a time, so it's been good speaking with you, man.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, man.
Yeah, no problem. All right. I don't know who was in here first, so I'm just going to go with the top one. And then we'll let the next one in, but only one at a time. If we have more than one, it usually becomes chaotic. What's going on?
Hey, not much, man. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you just fine.
Just making sure. I had some audio issues earlier. Just making sure I won't through here. Honestly, I was wanting to know your position on something again because I think I just caught the tail end of your all's conversation there, and forgive me for that. But
it's all good.
What was your position on public school again? I just kind of caught the end of it there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's the parent's responsibility to homeschool their child. I think it's irresponsible, in my opinion, to delegate your responsibility as a parent to a soulless institution, were my exact words.
Okay. Well, I don't actually 100% disagree with your opinion on public school. I actually probably agree with you a lot there. But my only disagreement here is you say it should be the parents' responsibility to homeschool. Say, you have a single parent who's working full time. How would they go about this?
Yeah, and I also address this. I mean, there's a bunch of community homeschools that you can get involved in. You just have to know the right people, and you can get to know the right people. Also, there are churches that offer this kind of program as well. Additionally, you can even do something where it's online based learning. So there are numerous options for people to keep their child in the home. Obviously, it's not ideal to be a single parent to begin with. That's another issue, right? That's a whole other issue to tackle. And that should be the exception.
Right.
Unfortunately, it's becoming the rule, and it's becoming the rule because we have weak men. That's the reason why it's becoming the rule, is because men are weak.
Well, I don't know how much I necessarily agree with that part of it, but I would like to say that if all these programs exist to help out the parents with schooling, I mean, what's the difference between that and public school?
Yeah, it's way different. First off, homeschool. Yeah, so public school, what do you have? Depending on the school, you have a bunch of kids from a bunch of different areas, a bunch of different households. Whereas when you're homeschooling, it's a much more small group of people, and that smaller group of people is going to align with your beliefs, what you think your child should be learning, how they should be learning it, a lot more than a public school system. There's a lot more soul in the education than when you go to a public school, which is soulless because the teachers, they get there, they sometimes have to deal with a lot of nonsense, and so they're maybe just going along with the motions. They're bringing in their drama from their home into that world. And yes, mind you, that could happen in these little small environments as well. However, if you're a part of that small community, it's going to be much more likely that your beliefs are going to align with them much more than a public school system.
Well, isn't sort of one of the benefits of a public school system? You're able to hear other views on subjects, and perhaps it's not always smart to have the parents teach exactly what they want their kids to learn, because I feel like all kids deserve a chance at some general information. There's a lot of people just in separate states that would debate you on, what their kids should believe and not believe. And I think sometimes that causes a bigger rift than if you just kind of understood a little bit of everything and your child created their own path in life instead of just simply following their parents' beliefs.
Well, that was a
Do you
bunch
think
of
that could
different.
be beneficial?
That was a bunch of different stuff there. So I don't know necessarily that the child should follow their own path in life because the child doesn't know what they want. Secondly, the other thing too is, I mean, there are books, man. I mean, I'm a big book reader, and I can read about books,
Right.
especially Chinese history. I'm very fascinated with Chinese history. I don't need to go over to China to learn about Chinese history. I don't need to talk with the Chinese
Right. But
to
you
learn
went to
about their
public
history.
school to learn about this, right?
No, I this was something that I picked up after I got out of college. And so
Oh, well,
that's one thing. And also a lot of the fiction books that I've read, a lot of the nonfiction books I read, historical biographies, etc., were not pushed on me in public school. I chose them out of my own volition because of curiosity.
right. So you chose your own path. Right. Yeah. See, I'm saying that's the benefit.
No, I'm telling you that, okay, first off, the ideal would be for the family to choose to have a path set for their child. That is the ideal way of a family. It is not ideal to say pave your own path every time. That leads to failure most of the time. That's why you have so many broken homes. That's why you have so many broken families. That's why you have so many people who don't have a strong safety net, and why we rely on the government to have a safety net. Anyway,
I don't completely disagree.
so
with
and then
you
as far
and
as
the
like,
government issue you have there, but
well,
say you have a family of flat earthers who believe the world is flat, and
they're
they want to
based.
teach their kid this. In fact, they push it on them, and they tell their kids, "You can't learn something else because this is the path I chosen for you." Would that not just breed more ignorance into the world?
Well, isn't it also ignorant that globe earthers are saying you shouldn't learn about flat Earth because it's stupid?
Don't know if I've heard globe earthers say that. I
Yeah,
just know that
you
the Earth
have
isn't
all the
flat,
time.
so
Globe
we learn
earthers.
about that
Well,
for
hang
millions
on,
of
hang
years.
on. So you use a really bad example because usually the people that go against the grain in what you're talking about here, they know a lot more about the globe Earth theory than the globe Earth guys know about the flat Earth theory. So in a family in that situation, they would be like, all right, so you're going to encounter, this would be the logical approach of the flat earthers. Hey, you're going to encounter a lot of globe earthers in this world because they believe a lot of people have been brainwashed. Therefore, you should probably learn about their theory. That way you can understand our theory of the shape of the earth a little bit better and why theirs doesn't make sense. So, to your point, are there ignorant people who will do that? Yes, but it's insane to just lump it into one category. It can be anybody. It can literally be any ideological belief system you want to say you can't learn about any of this. But any sane person, for instance, I'm a Christian. My children, as far as what I'm teaching them, will be Christianity. However, I have no issue if they want to read a book about Buddhism. I have no issue if they want to listen to a lecture on somebody talking about Hinduism. But I will
Because
not
they're
let
gonna
somebody.
carve their own path.
No, it's not carving their own path. It's not. I mean, yes, to an extent, you have your own life, so you have a certain journey that you're on. However, it is the parent's responsibility
Right.
to put guardrails on that journey to best protect them, so that way they have the best outcome possible. And ideally, the best outcome possible would be something to remain in the family, because who cares about you more than your family? Ideally, nobody. So, if you look at extremely successful families, we'll take the Trumps, for example. Love them or hate them, everybody had a path that they were on, and none of them are suffering. That family is pretty much intact. I mean, yes, Trump, he's a ladies' man, but you hear no feuds. You hear nothing bad about the family internally, about their internal feuds. They're very, very close knit. Maybe they do have issues, but nobody's hearing about it. So, why not try to.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it's true either. I'm just saying that nobody's heard about it, though. Nobody's heard about, oh, Ivanka Trump really doesn't like Donald Trump Jr. Nobody hears about any of that. And everybody works under the brand of Trump. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, I think we might be talking past each other a little bit here, and that could be I'm not sure. But as far as the Trump family goes, I mean, that's great that you don't hear anything from them. But I'm still slightly confused about exactly what your issue with public school is. I agree with you that it could be revamped, that most teachers are probably overworked, that the schools are probably definitely overpacked, that there could be better forms of public schools out there. But especially in America today, most households, it takes both parents to work full-time careers just to have a comfortable living for themselves, much less more children. And I feel like public school offers a way for not only you to get things done during the day, but also for your kids to be in an environment where they can learn things without your constant attention, while you can focus on a career so you can set them up better in life. I think unless the government comes up with a better system than this, unfortunately, this is kind of the best way to go right now.
It's not the government's job to
raise. Seem to solve the problem.
It's not.
You say that the parents should be responsible for 24/7 with their kids.
Yeah.
When they also have to be responsible for careers and money and the household and their kids' financial future.
Yeah.
We're talking about the Trumps. Well, the Trumps got that way by sending their kids to a private school, a school where they weren't having to be watched by them 24/7. They could build the company and build the career, and then lay out a path for their kids to be financially successful. Yep. And these things are done by most people going to school and learning these trades.
Yeah.
So I'm still confused about what your problem is.
Okay, so I was isolating a analogy with the Trumps. And that is, they all work for the Trumps. Nobody else. That's awesome. That's laying out a pathway for your child. Now, your point that they sent them to public school, private school rather, cool, awesome. My issue with public school is this. It is the parent's responsibility to raise their child and to educate their child. As far as your argument that, well, in today's world, you need to have two incomes in order to live. I don't believe that at all. If you're extremely materialistic and you want to have a mortgage, you want to have a car payment, you want to have, the newest, nicest things, yeah, of course. Of course, if you want to go on a vacation every year, if you want to do all these things, maybe you do need two incomes because the man isn't a high enough earner. Maybe that is the case because the man isn't exceptional enough. And this is true. It happens a lot, right? It happens a lot where the man is just not exceptional enough to bring home a six-figure income, which is what ideally, if you guys are both working, you guys should both on average be bringing home close to six figures together, right? So if the man can't do that on his own, and then you want to have this extremely materialistic life, okay, but then you're sacrificing materialism for the betterment of your child. And that's cool. That's your prerogative.
You brought up some different points here. Are you saying that it is solely the women's job to do the teaching at home and the men solely have to work? Because you keep bringing up men like it would be a man's fault that their family didn't earn more than six figures. Could the woman not also earn money? Is that a problem in your view? Is that what you're saying?
No, the woman should be at home, though. You can earn money from home. Historically, women have made money from home. This goes back from antiquity, man. Women would do stuff at home that they could sell at markets and stuff, but the man would be the one outside doing the real business. And the woman would be in charge of the children and the family.
Well, I mean, I have a wife that has a good career that brings in lots of money that she enjoys. Cool. She shouldn't be doing that?
Hey, you guys do what you want to do.
Is that what you're saying?
You do what you want to do. I'm not telling you how to live your life.
That shouldn't happen. I mean, should women not be out in the working world and being successful?
I don't think so. But, I mean, you do what you want to do. I would not let my wife out into the working field, especially now that we have 3 kids.
Go ahead.
No way. Now that we have 3 kids, I would not let my wife go back out into the office. I'd be a failure as a man if I did that.
Why would that make you a failure?
Because my wife would feel more comfortable at home raising the children, and my children would rather be around my wife than some stranger.
Well, I mean, just to get this out of the way, if your wife feels more comfortable at home, then that is a perfectly reasonable explanation.
And I'm arguing that most women, 99.
Allowed to choose what they want to do, but that's
no, it's the no. So women in general would much rather, as soon as they have a child, be at home with their children. They would. They hate having to go back. Why do you think there's postpartum depression? This is a relatively new thing. And it's a relatively new thing because the Western world's like, hey, You got your time with your baby, get back in the office. Why do you think companies are now going to be paying for women to unalive their own children? Because, hey, you need to come make that money, honey. You need to come work for us. Don't start a family. Don't do what you're naturally designed to do. Don't do that. No, 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 no. Make that money. Be good. Be good worker slaves.
Oh, okay. I think we have some different worldviews here that might inflict with our political views, and that's fine. Totally fine. In my opinion, though, just to sum up my side of the argument, I think I get what you're saying about public school, and I don't 100% disagree with you. Actually, I think we kind of stand closer together than we might think we do here. But as far as the women thing goes, I mean, I stand pretty far away from you on the fence here, man. I feel like if a woman chooses to go get a career, or if she wants to, it should be my decision to allow or not allow my wife to do so. She enjoys her life and her career, and that's what she wants to do. So that's what she's going to do. I have no right to take that away from her. I also have one. And let me tell you, we both do decent, but things are still hard. So, I mean, in my opinion, yes, most families probably need two incomes these days just to live a moderately comfortable life. It's very difficult out here, especially if you have health issues like I do, unfortunately. But anyway, man, it was great talking to you. I just wanted to sum up your view here. I appreciate you, not being rude or over talking to me. You're probably one of the easiest going people I've debated on here, and I appreciate that. It
Yeah,
really
of course.
says a lot about your character.
Yeah, I appreciate
But
that,
I hope
man.
you have a great day, man. I'll let
You too.
get somebody else in here, and you take it easy, buddy.
Yeah, you too, man. Pleasure speaking with you. Yeah, it was a corporate elitist agenda, and it was also a tool to get women to vote for the Democratic Party. Fact, Wyoming. Look into it. Hey, what's going on?
What's going on, brother? I think we think about a lot of things.
Awesome.
Just the whole woman having to stay at home issue and do what they were made for thing. Yeah, I don't know what that was about.
I mean, it's true. Biologically, that's what they're designed to do. Humans are designed to life. All life is designed to make more life.
My wife had 4 kids. My oldest is 19. My youngest is 6.
Okay, awesome.
So now that she's done with the childbearing, like she doesn't have the right to go like out and work no more.
You're in charge of your wife. You decide what she can do.
I'm not in charge of my wife. That's what I'm saying. You make it sound like they are these things that you should be impregnating all the time, and they should stay at home all barefoot and naked type of thing.
I'm not saying that either. I'm not saying that they should be standing around.
I'm just saying that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, I know, because modern society is so corrupted, they don't understand my basic point. And that's okay. I'm here to explain it.
No, my basic, like when I was very early on in my career, when I had my first son, and I worked my way up, making more and more money because I had more and more kids. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted my wife at home raising my children. I didn't want some stranger raising my children. Sure,
right?
But now that my kids are grown up and stuff, and they don't need diaper changing or breastfeeding, you know what I mean? I don't understand why it would be a problem if she wanted to go get a job and help out financially towards the family's financial stuff.
Hey, you're the king of your castle, man. If you think that your queen should be out there working for other men, that's totally your prerogative.
I mean, you would be out there working for other men.
I have my own 2 businesses.
Okay, so you make your money, right?
Yep.
It doesn't matter where you make your money from, right? Same thing with her, right? She has her business, she makes her money. It doesn't matter where her money comes from, right? As long as she's not out prostituting herself or doing something like a sex trade type of thing, I would think it'd be a normal thing.
I mean, I think if my wife is going to make money from the home, that's totally fine. If she wants to bake some goods.
No, you're saying
if
so
she wants to,
as long as she's home, she can make money. You just don't want her out in, what is it out in public that bothers you making money?
Okay, so let me clarify. I want her main focus to be our children and our home.
Okay, so
We have-
at what point is your focus on the children and the home?
So I'll finish answering what I was talking about here. So her main focus should be the children in the home. We have a pretty busy social life, so that's also part of something that she will take care of around the home, making the home beautiful. Now, if she wants to make money, if she wants and she feels she needs to make money, fine, but that's not her number one priority. That is a side thing to do. So if she decides, all right, I want to make these cool bracelets or these cool jewelries, or I want to get into microgreens, or I want to bake some goods and sell them at the farmer's market, cool. But that's not your life. Your life is revolving around our family, making sure our home is a home, our children are raised right. That's the responsibility of a woman. And my
You're making
responsibility.
it seem like it's not like a mutual agreement. Like, shouldn't you have a mutual agreement of raising your children at home together?
So my belief is this: the man is the head of the household. The woman is obedient to the man. The children are obedient to the woman and the man, obviously by default, but the woman is the leader over the child. And then me as the man, I am subordinate to my creator God.
So women are obedient to their men.
Yes,
I have an issue with that statement as well.
that's okay.
Well, no, I mean that type of thing. Like, I don't know. It's easy to say it over the internet, right? And it's
I mean, you can come look at my house. You can come. Every relationship I've been in, by the way.
Obedient to me, like if you were mean to your woman in public in front of me and were whacking her around or something, I'd fuck you up.
Okay, fair enough. Nobody's talking. We're talking about two different things now.
Well,
Abuse,
I'm just saying, like,
abuse,
the way you talk
and
about a
obedience.
woman being obedient like a dog really pisses me off.
Well, don't get triggered, man, because you just don't understand it, and that's okay. I'm here to educate you on what it's like to be a man and have a woman that actually cares about it.
Sir, I have
So,
4 children.
yeah,
43
yeah.
years old. How about you?
Yeah. So I'm 26, and my woman is still at home. She will never be going out into the workforce
Do you
again.
have children? Do you
Yeah.
have children, sir?
Got 3 of them.
Okay.
3 of them in 2 years. 3 of them in 2 years.
How to get a
I'm-
woman pregnant and raise them.
Oof. No, I mean the goal is to make sure that your woman is provided and protected for. That is your responsibility as a man. And then you are lacking one of the pillars if you send your wife out into the workforce, because now you can no longer really protect her. You're hoping society is sustainable enough and safe enough.
Protect her from what?
The world's a crazy place. Look at the news.
So you want to keep her indoors in like a cage?
No, not at all. Not at all.
It sounds like that.
Yeah, I know,
She has
because
to
you
be
don't
obedient.
understand it.
She has to stay in the house.
No,
Right?
she can
It
leave
still
that.
sounds
No,
like dog things to me.
no. My wife can take my daughters to the park if she wishes. I would just like to know where they're going. Where are you going? How long are you going to be there? Awesome. Have fun. Be safe. Also, I'd prefer maybe you take your mom with you. Maybe you take your dad with you. Have somebody else there to help watch the kids and help you make sure if anything happens, God forbid. That's all. I have no issue with it. No issue whatsoever. But it's my responsibility.
You go to the park with them.
I'm sorry.
Do you go to the park with your family?
Sometimes, yes. But once again, I have a couple
How often do
businesses.
you go to the park with your family?
We just went to the park last week. We usually go to the park at least once a
Okay,
week.
so once a week you go to the park as a family or just with you?
As a family.
Okay. So at any point is it like a dad thing? Like dad's hanging out with the kids and mom's no around. She's doing something else with somebody else.
Typically no, but my wife goes to a chiropractor right now. So when my wife has her chiropractor meetings, I'm with the kids.
Okay. I mean, I'm not against you wanting to do what you want to do, because like when I was doing very well in my career, that's exactly what I wanted to be my wife to be at home with my children, where I paid all the bills and I did all this stuff. But like, it's like later on in life, like a woman not having freedom like that, and you saying being
My
obedient and stuff
woman-
like that,
my-
bugs me.
My wife has freedom. she chooses to be. She would much. I don't even have to tell her.
But you're saying she has to be obedient to you. So
Yes.
That doesn't sound like a freedom.
Yes, because I'm obedient to God. There's a logical order.
Okay. Now, not everybody believes in your same God.
That's
correct?
okay. That's
Would
okay.
that be fair to say?
That is true. Yes, that's a fact.
Just because of that, it doesn't make them wrong, right?
Not
Yeah,
nec-
they
not
believe in
not in my
their own
opinion.
gods.
Not in my opinion.
Or maybe not at all.
Not in my opinion. But I get your point.
Well, I'm just saying, like, on a whole, from an outside looking in type of perspective, right? What you say to me, it just sounds wrong. Like, I'm not saying you don't have the right to say it or feel it. It just sounds wrong.
So as a man, I have responsibility over my women and children in regards of providing for them and protecting for them. And so if I have responsibility over my child, you would have nothing wrong with me saying I have authority over my child, correct?
Sure.
All right, now extrapolate that to the woman. If I'm responsible for my woman, I have authority over her as well. I have the right to say, honey, I have the right to say,
I think it's more of an equal thing. Like, we have equal say in family matters and finance and children and everything above.
yeah, I don't agree with that. I don't agree because life is not equal.
So
We
you're
have-
saying if your woman disagrees with you, whatever you say trumps hers.
If it's important enough, yes. For example, I'll give you an example, a really good example. If my wife and I have a disagreement as to whether or not we want to get a mortgage on a home, right?
Mhm.
I, as the man, can be like, yeah, we're not getting that mortgage. And then she can give me every reason that she wants in the world as to why we should. And I'll be like, no. And that's that. However, if it's something innocuous, like, oh, we should really let the children have ice cream. And I'm like, you know what? It's kind of close to bedtime. Maybe we shouldn't do that. Do I still have the right as the man to be like, no, they're not having ice cream? Of course. But guess what? That's something that's like, okay, you know what? Mom's right. Let the kids have ice cream before bed. But big decisions, like where are we going to move?
Decisions, buying a house and giving the kids ice cream.
Yeah, so use your brain a little bit here and you can extrapolate out.
Those little decisions, I'll let you use your brain for that. But those big decisions, no way.
No, you can. There was nothing wrong with her providing me reasons as to why we could get a mortgage. But I just know because I may have a greater foresight than her. Or I'm like, you know what? I'm the one that's going to be front loading this bill, so that ain't happening. I don't think it's smart to get a mortgage. We're less mobile, and then we don't even own the home. It's an illusion. It's an illusion. We own the home.
What that's happened over the years with me. Is your wife aware of your finances at all?
For the most part, yeah.
Like, so she knows how much you have in the bank and how much you have going out to all the different bills and stuff like that?
For the most part, yes.
Okay. So she's involved in all that stuff, but she's not able to contribute financially.
Never said that.
Household
yes,
that.
Outside. Yes, outside. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, to each their own. I can't, like you said, it's you're the king of your castle, right? I would just think the general public would have an issue with what you're saying.
That's okay, and the general public is going down a path of destruction, and that's okay. This is what happens. We're in a declining empire.
Is going down a path of destruction and losing religion and losing all morals and ethics.
Yes, and what I'm talking about is promoting the highest form of a family in perpetuity.
Sure, no, I believe me. I've been where you are coming from, as far as like putting family and the wife at the house over anything. You know what I mean? But I believe those things evolve and change as you grow older.
I don't agree with that. I think this is why we also have high divorce rates, because most people just stay with their spouse because of what? The kids. And then after they both decide, okay, honey, you can stay at home and do this, but then after we get after the kids are gone, we don't have anything to connect with each other because of whatever reason. There's a myriad of reasons. Now you get a divorce. No, no. I think a lot of today's society, a lot of problems stem from men not being real men and not being willing to say, yeah, I don't think that twice a month you should go out every night with the girls. That sounds like a really bad idea. And also, why do you want to go out with the girls every 2 weeks? Why do you want to do that? And also, why do you want to work around a bunch of random men for 40 hours a week? Just saying.
I mean, as far as like, I wish my wife was here right now, but she's not. She's at work currently. I'm gonna go pick her up in a little bit, but it's like if she wants to make her own money and buy her own things, that she doesn't have to ask me permission for anything, right? So if she wants to buy her own lipstick or makeup or clothes, then she could do that, right?
I mean, to an extent, but you still have responsibility over her, so you then have authority over her to a degree.
But I mean, it's her money. She's going out there and making her own money, right? But like currently, I'm like we were talking about the homeschooling thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've switched gears completely. For the first 2 kids, everything was like, oh, public school, blah blah blah. The wife stayed home, raised the kids. I worked. Now I switched gears, right? She's working a lot more. I'm homeschooling the kids and working part-time in between her schedule. You know what I mean? And it just works at the moment way better than it ever did before because it's both of our responsibility as far as financial stuff.
Yeah, hey man.
I used to do everything all myself, and she didn't know anything about anything, and I paid everything myself all the time. No
right on.
fans about anything, right?
Cool, man. So I mean, if that's the way you guys operate, that's the way you operate. I'm just saying it's not the best.
That's how we currently operate since COVID.
I know. I got it.
All that bullshit.
I got it. I got it 100%. And that's your prerogative.
Sure. So I mean, that doesn't make me less of a man than you. I've done it for 20 plus years.
Yeah, fair enough.
Just like you did, right?
Fair enough.
And what you're saying is I'm less of a man now. I heard you earlier saying you're less of a man if you let your wife go work for things she might want to buy for herself.
Yeah,
she
I mean,
have to ask you. It makes no damn sense. It's
so
kind of asinine. So
I would just say that in my experience in this world, which isn't as much as yours, but I've had quite a bit of experience with women, and all the relationships I've ever had, the women just wanted to please me. I mean, I had girls that weren't even dating me when I was in high school that would, when I was cutting weight for wrestling, they would intentionally bring food for me to eat after weigh-ins. Women want to serve. So then I just think that the households remain intact if you retain your authority over the woman entirely as life goes on. And then also I would say,
yeah, but see, I keep having a problem with this, like authority over the woman. Like it's more of an equal thing. When you had children and you got together, you made an equal agreement to do everything together, good, bad, or indifferent, right?
No, because we do not do everything together. It's insane. I don't like if something were to happen in the household where somebody broke in, we're not going out to fight that bad guy together. I am.
Oh yeah, sure, something like that.
So we're not equal.
Step up first. I would step up first
right.
as well. Right?
So there is not equality in the marriage. You play to your strengths.
Well, no. See, you're playing to some particular situation where the boat's going down and it's women and children first type thing. Like, okay, who gives a fuck? Like, of course we're gonna step. Well, most men. I can't say all men are gonna step up and do what they should in that particular situation. But it doesn't give you the right to be better than the woman.
Nobody said. Nope, never once said that men are better than women.
You have the authority over them.
Yeah, you do.
No, why?
I've already explained it.
situation. I'm saying take that out of the equation.
Yeah,
Take
so
away
even
the wife
then-
in that situation.
Even then, I'm responsible.
How are you have the authority over a woman?
I'm responsible for her. I'm responsible for her
No, you're
safety.
not.
I am.
How are you responsible for her?
I'm,
You
res-
have to- she breathes on her own.
I'm responsible for her safety. I'm responsible for her livelihood. When you get married, who gives who away? When have you ever seen the groom get given away to the bride? Never. It's always the other way. The father gives away the bride.
So you're
Because
you're
the
basing
father-
everything off of religion.
I'm basing
You're-
everything
you're
off
not-
of
you're
no,
basing
I'm
it
not.
off of
So
morality.
no, I no. So historically, this is the way it's always been for marriages. You can go to Chinese
No, I'm
history.
talking about
You can go to
they
Chinese
used to
history.
give away people for
And-
goats and stuff, right?
So Chinese history, let's take Western culture out of it. It's the same way. The father gives away the bride. Because there's this innate understanding that as a
But once
father,
again, it's based on religions and stuff. They want to keep religions going and families.
You do
family
know, like,
bloodlines going and
China's-
stuff like that, right?
China's pretty agnostic and atheistic, and has been for a while.
I wouldn't think that it would be a thing about giving away or marrying for families and stuff. It'd be that it's not beneficial to the families then.
It
You're
is.
saying they're just doing it for a cow or something. That's not what they would be doing it for.
Yeah, this is the historical purpose of marriage. And the woman is always given away to the man. It's never the man being given away to the woman, because innately, as men, as fathers, I have 3 daughters. I know I am completely responsible for them. And so when I decide that they can marry somebody, it's then that man who is going to take over my role as a provider and protector.
After they get married to that man, which you're responsible to get them married to that man based on your religious beliefs.
Yes, and I think just also on an innate.
Financially, you would be responsible for the wedding to that man to absolve yourself from future responsibility.
Probably yes.
Okay, no, that's but to me, like I said, it's like a religious type of thing. It's based on religion.
I mean, it's also from my personal view, yes, but I'm saying historically, this has been the trend for millennia. With or without religion.
No, I think religion's always been involved. I would think
Religion is always a part of civilization, but this has been going on regardless, whether it be to keep bloodlines going, whether it be to pass on property, whether it be to pass off a cow.
Said, like things like slavery have been going on for a long time. Just because it's been going on for a long time doesn't mean it's necessarily truth or 100%.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like I would just back off of the authoritarian.
It's not authoritarian. No,
I think you're just gonna run into a lot of.
No, I think what I do is I empower. I think the message that I communicate is empowering to women. This is the real feminist message.
Say again?
This is the real feminist message which I promote.
Before that part, what was message?
Everything that we've just been discussing for the past few minutes.
Oh, you're saying in general, you're just saying allowing women to be more powerful in the workplace and stuff like that.
No, I'm saying let the woman do what she does best.
Make babies?
And the Christian belief has the best belief when it comes to this. Maybe the Muslims have this too. The Muslims are pretty based. But anyway, they're like, it is a woman's right. It is her right to be able to stay home with her children. It isn't something that's secondary. It's her right. We know this with animals, right? We see this with animals like a dog. We would never, ever, ever take away the puppies from the mother.
Well, Not initially, because they have to feed, right?
Yes, and so with
They're-
humans,
they're
it lasts a
suckling
lot
up the
longer.
teat.
It lasts a lot longer. It lasts a lot longer than just breastfeeding. It goes on forever. You never stop being a parent, as you know. And so,
Oh, sure.
so
sure. I would agree with that, but at a certain point, they're very they're very able to be without their mother, like hovering over them 24/7. And their dad could be with them maybe part of that time. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to always be mom.
but it should mostly be mom 90% of the time. My children, I have 2 children that are 2. One,
But how is mom supposed to teach like son? Like I have 3 sons.
yeah,
and one
so
daughter.
yeah, so
How
yeah,
is
no, this is a really
mom
good question.
supposed to teach my
Yeah,
sons
this,
to be men if I'm not
yeah,
around?
no,
You know
no,
what I mean?
really good question, really good question. So then it comes to age at that point, right? So I have 3 children. One's cooking in the belly right now. It's coming along. Be here in September, God willing. And then the other 2, they're here. They're 2 years old. They're twins. While one of my daughters,
You got your hands full.
I do, man, I do. They're awesome. I love
You
it.
have no clue, man.
I want to have as many children as God will allow us to have. So if we have
Yeah,
12
I was the
children,
same way.
that's
I
awesome.
had my first 2. I had my oldest are 17 and 19. I had a boy and a girl.
Awesome.
And then 10 years later, we had kind of like a, oh no. And then the 4th one was like, oh, well, the 3rd one needs a buddy, you know? So
Right. So, right, man, that's awesome. And I meant and just by the way, I know it may have came across rude when I said I'm teaching you how to be a man. You are a lot older than me. Obviously, I need to add in,
listen,
so
I'm
it is.
on here debating you and your particular points because I think a lot of people would want to say the things I want to say, you know?
Yeah.
I mean?
And I know a lot of.
That's what we're on here for, like a debate, like different people's point of views. That's all.
And so just to finish off of what I'm saying, my 2 daughters are 2 years old. One of them right now, she's obsessed with me, right? I come home, even if it's a little break, I come, or I come home for the night or whatever. I'm usually in and out of the house all day doing different things. So every time I come home, it's always, Daddy. And then as soon as they wake up in the morning, that one's always, Daddy. And so, they love me. They want me to hold them. They want me to play with them. But you know who they want more than me? You know this answer. Their mother. They want to spend more time. And so no. I know your point. So I'm not finished. I'm not finished. So you bring up a really good point when it comes to the sons. I know I have daughters. I have 3 daughters, right? One's coming, 2 are here. So anyway, yes, as far as the boys go, you're 100% right because the woman can't teach them how to be a man. 100% right. And this comes down to age at that point, right? So if you have the availability when your son becomes 6, 7, 8 years old, then it's like it's time for some man training now. Now it's time where you spend more. I wouldn't even say the quantity of time needs to increase, but the quality of time. And I'm not a father of a son yet, so I don't necessarily know this, but I would say that the quality time in which you spend with your son would need to increase into, or evolve rather, into manly activities. Like, all right, now we need to learn. All right, we're going to go dig this hole. Why are we digging this hole? Because we're going to put in a fence in the backyard and you're going to help me. And then you're like, all right, so this is how the real world works.
And I'm not saying that's not I'm saying that I think that's just as equally important to your daughters.
Yes, I agree.
So the reason I jumped on, you seem like a young guy, right? I have several guys my age that have done it just exactly like what you're saying, and I've done it just that way as myself. And they all died very young from like some heart issues and stuff. Like I know 3 different people that died in their early 40s of heart issues that all did it the way me and you were doing it for all our kids' lives. And you're not promised anything. I just want you to enjoy your family more than you try to enjoy your work. It's something that I learned, and I learned it the hard way, and I've learned it through other people's pain, unfortunately. And I want you to just take away that it's not all about work and keeping your wife knocked up at the house. You got to be there too.
100%.
You know what I'm
I agree
saying?
with you. I 100% agree with you, and I thank you for that piece of
I
advice.
don't want you to work yourself to death for the remembrance of who you were and what you stood for. I want you to be around for some of that.
I appreciate that, man. I really do.
The whole authority thing over your woman, I don't think a lot of people are going to agree with you on that. But
A lot of people
you're
are
the king of
wrong.
your castle, and if your wife's cool with that, hey, God bless you.
Right on, man. Right on. Well, hey, I got somebody else that wants to hop in. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. You have a great day, man.
You as well, brother.
All right. Let's go. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, it's going all right.
Good, good.
I had a bone to pick with you on the Ukraine subject.
Okay.
What's your view on the Ukraine war?
So how do you know we have a bone to pick then?
Well, that's why I'm asking before I lay into you.
Well, that seems kind of you just came on here to intentionally assault, come on the attack when you don't even know we could agree.
That is why I'm asking. I mean, the subject made me think one thing, but I'm asking the question because it could be the other.
Yeah, so just to clarify on the subject, article came out today, which is something that I've covered way before, just off of putting pieces together. But now it's official. The Ukraine's defense chief offers Ukraine as a testing ground for NATO weapons. And so on Tuesday, he had stated openly offer Ukraine as a venue to test NATO weapons in an online conversation with the director of the Atlantic Council Euro-Asia Center. And then the United States is also included in this once you look a little bit more into it. But so that's just, all Western arms pretty much. So basically, we're just over there testing weapons, testing AI in Ukraine. And Ukraine is essentially a testing ground where they are, just showing that Western weapons, whether it be because of lack of training or just they're not up to par with Russian weapons, aren't working.
Well, yeah, I think that's part of it. They're trying to get any advantage over Russia that they can. But did you know that Russia was also testing its own weapons in the Ukraine?
Yeah, I know. But what we're talking about here is that the Western powers are testing their weapons in Ukraine, which is a little more insidious, in my opinion, than Russia testing their own weapons.
Well, how would it be more insidious than Russia doing it?
Well, because it's not Ukrainian weapons. So why are Western powers helping Ukraine when it's the Ukraine-Russia war?
Okay, well, that was what I wanted to ask, because it seems like your sympathies lie with Russia in this conflict, and I'm wondering how that can be.
Yeah, because they broke the Minsk agreement. NATO and Ukraine did.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, NATO said that they would stop encroaching on Russia, close to Eastern European countries in like the 90s. They didn't stop doing it. They never stopped doing it. They try to color, I don't know how much I can say, but they try to color revolution in Ukraine as well in the 2010s, failed. And Ukraine has been attacking eastern half of Ukraine for quite some time. This is all becoming out in the open now. Am I a supporter of war? No, I think mostly wars are evil. I think mostly wars are satanic. But if I had to side with anybody who is doing the right thing, I would have to side more so with Russia, because it doesn't look like Ukraine is acting on its own volition. It's acting more so as a puppet state for the West, which is why I make the point that I make here, that it's a testing ground for the USA and NATO. But you can replace the USA with the West, and you can also replace NATO with the West. It's just a testing ground for the West.
Okay, yeah, and this is what I wanted to inquire, because I wonder how someone's sympathies end up lying with a person who has been busy consolidating power for himself over the last 20 years, and as opposed to what we understand in the West as open elections.
I don't see anything wrong in consolidating power. I think power is naturally consolidated anyway, so it's going to happen regardless.
Okay.
And then as far as open, and then as far, I don't know how much, I don't know how far we can go into it, but as far as the whole election thing, debatable if they're open here in the West as well.
So elections are internationally monitored, both in the U.S. and in Europe. There's an organization or two that actually do that specifically to make sure that they're free and fair.
Yeah, and you know that.
Allow those observers in.
Yeah, and you do know that institutions and these kind of watchdog organizations become corrupt, right?
I think we hear about examples of corruption, and I think that's because we have an open media. Russia doesn't have that. Putin is able to censor whatever story he wants, and he can tell his state-run media channels how to cover stories.
We do too.
No, we don't actually.
We do.
We don't have that power. No, the first.
Why is Julian Assange been in prison?
So Julian Assange is guilty of leaking classified material.
Okay, but I thought we had a free press.
CIA operatives.
So we don't have free press. So there's a line on free press then, right? So it's not totally free press.
We have a clandestine organization within the government that seeks to prevent war and use peaceful means to resolve conflict. And when you undercut our ability to resolve conflict peacefully, you end up with open conflicts like we have in Ukraine.
Right, and Russia would say the same thing.
So Russia has generally not tried peaceful means of resolving conflicts. Putin has assassinated his political opponents.
Have you ever heard of the Clintons?
I mean, if you believe that theory,
and if you believe, I can say the same thing about Putin though. If you believe those assassinations were Putin behind it, if you believe it, they're theories.
I mean, that helps me understand your cynicism, because if you see the Clintons as just as
I'm not
conniving and killing, then they're out of power right now.
I don't. No, I'm not a cynic at all. I'm just showing you that. No. What I'm saying is this: everything you're criticizing Russia for, anybody who has any understanding of Russia or China, which I've studied a lot of Chinese history, could make the same argument for the United States.
Well, yeah, you can. I just would call it a huge false equivalence, because, I think where we have blemishes on our human rights record, Putin is the blemish. He doesn't do anything to promote open forms of government at all.
Why do you want an open form? Well, let me ask you this: what is an open government?
An open government is one where you have freedom of speech, where the media is free to report, and academics are free to criticize.
So why are professors, medical professionals in the United States losing their license for going out against the mainstream narrative?
Because the evidence collected so far doesn't back up their opinion.
So they lose their
to perform a study to back up their opinion.
So they lose their license because they're wrong.
They lose their license because they have a hunch, and the available evidence that we have doesn't back up their hunch.
So they lose their license because they're wrong, and Putin says you can't speak because you're wrong.
Right. So this isn't one person handing down a dictum saying that you can't talk this way. This is organizations of many people coming together and saying, let's look at what we know so far.
Do you know how you don't even know how the Russian government works the way you're talking. So the United States, the president of the United States can say, yo, hit that nuke. Let's get that nuke out. You know what they have to do in Russia? The Putin can't do that. Joe Biden has more power than Putin, fact, when it comes to launching the nuke. All of their generals have to be in agreement in order for the nukes to go boom in Russia. Also, bet you didn't know this about Russia. In Russia, their politicians openly have debates with their central bank. When's the last time you saw that in the United States? Don't happen. It don't happen. So who's more open? Who's more open? Who's more open? Who's more open?
I would say the U.S. is for sure. I mean, to me, that's without question, because I see the stories that Putin censors. And I haven't seen any censored stories in the United States. The one that you could argue didn't have evidence for it yet. And that's why I talk about evidence.
So they're wrong. So they're wrong. So basically, so use some logic here. Basically, what you're saying is, if you have a hypothesis which has no evidence, hypotheses don't have evidence, and that hypothesis is proven wrong, you lose your job. That is literally your logic.
Yeah, I don't think you should say things without evidence. I think that's very harmful.
That's insane.
Well, it's funny that you think it's insane, because that's what most of us think about you. I'm glad we can have a calm conversation about it, because it helps me see our difference in opinion.
So let me ask you this. You think it's insane? So if I can't talk to my wife about hypothesizing about how a tree comes to be if I had no clue about how a tree comes to be? I have no evidence. I've never seen a seed before. You think I shouldn't have that conversation?
So back in the Middle Ages, we used
No,
to
no, no,
think
no.
that
Answer
maggots
that question.
spontaneously
Answer that
generated.
question. Answer that question. Should I not be able to talk with my wife or friends or somebody about things that I may have no evidence about, but we're just talking about? I can't talk about it. You want to
So
censor
your
me?
question
You want to
has-
censor
your
me if I
question
don't
has a
have
very
evidence?
flawed premise.
No,
And
basically,
the flawed
no,
premise
it's not a false
is that
premise.
you're
I'm literally
treating
going
yourself
off of
as if
this.
you were a public figure, and you're not. When you're talking with your wife, you're not conversing in public. You're not telling a bunch of people, "Hey, this is what to believe." So that's why I jumped to the maggot example, because that's what people in the Middle Ages used to believe about how science worked. And they used to think that if you left meat out long enough, it would grow maggots from the meat. Over time, we learned that insects laid larvae in the meat, and that's those eggs that the maggots come from.
Okay.
It was science that revealed that to us over time.
Well, here's something else that I would add then. I did a whole stream on this yesterday where I did not once interject my opinion. I was reading right from the direct sources who conducted the said studies and surveys. There is a replication crisis in science. And this affects, now listen before you say, those are soft sciences, because it affects all sciences. Psychology, economy, chemistry, physics, biology, earth science, environmental science, all of them have a reproducibility crisis. In 2016, Nature conducted a survey where 70% of the researchers said, yeah, a lot of the studies we were unable to reproduce. And 87% were in chemistry, about 80% were in physics, about 70% were in biology, about 66% were in earth sciences. And then also the same thing goes in the medical field. And the same thing, and it's even worse in the medical field, quite frankly. And then as far as evolutionary biologists and ecologists, only less than 3% of their studies are reproduced, but then they claim them as fact. And this is a huge issue. This is a huge issue in the field of science.
So what you say is a bug, I say is a feature. What science looks for is independently observable, repeatable results. So if you have trouble repeating the results of a study, it's more likely that that study is an outlier that should be disregarded.
And that's so once again, most science is publishing, reputable journals are publishing things that have no reproducibility whatsoever and claiming them as if they do. This is called the replication crisis. You can look it up. You can actually, if you want to learn more about me and what I do, MOT Media on YouTube, I have interviews where I've asked people in academia their opinion about this, and they say it's a huge issue. From people who support transhumanism to people who are against transhumanism. They think that it's a huge issue. And that science has become a religion.
I'm not so sure about that, because science is always looking for new studies. So if you have another study that disproves what the other one said, it gets published too.
Yeah, but then that study can be disproved. So then you just go into this, then you have no coherency within the field of science. Then you cannot say, then you just go down the realm of this. Well, your evidence was disproven, so now you get banned because you were wrong. You had evidence, we proved it wrong, you lose your license. Because you were talking about incorrect things. That's your logic. If you follow your logic, I'm following your logic.
No, I'm not saying that licenses get taken away over a single study.
But licenses get taken away.
Checking what these minority scientists have been saying are running in parallel. So there's multiples to go on, and none of them produce the desired results to back up what these banned people were saying.
That's debatable. Well, this is also debatable because a lot of things are censored in the United States. But I get it. You're still blinded by the mainstream. So I get it. It's all good.
It's all over the world.
I get it.
Rely on the media.
I get it.
I go straight to the academic sources and Science Magazine, and there's a academic publisher in Great Britain called Elsevier that publishes a magazine called New Scientist. I look outside the mainstream media for anywhere these studies are being conducted, and I'm telling you, these minority opinions that are getting censored, there is zero evidence for it. It does not exist. And we're living in an age, a post-rational age, where rumor can substitute for fact, and that's a problem.
Well, so it's all good, man. It's all good. I get it. I know exactly where you're coming from. It's all good.
Okay.
Anything else?
Going back to that. Well, okay. Actually, I can't remember the second point because there were two things you said. One was about Putin's nuclear strike capability, and then there was one other point you made about
that the central banks, that the head of the central bank in Russia, actually has open debates with the ministers in the political structure in the Russian government, whereas that isn't true in the United States.
I see. Because you have an issue with like the Fed deliberating privately before making a decision. You think it should be more like C-SPAN?
I don't necessarily have a problem with the Fed. I don't have a better solution with the Fed. My point is bringing that up is that one could argue, as I have been arguing quite successfully, you have to agree, because all my points are valid, that one could logically and validly argue the United States is not as open as one thinks it is, and that there are a lot of good points that one could have to say Russia is more open than the West perceives it to be.
And I find it interesting that you think the state-run media, and then Putin handpicks all of these people in government. By the way, he appoints the Fed, he appoints the judges. And by the way, when he gave up power, he handed it over to his associate Medvedev.
Yep.
So one person running things for 20 years can make things look open. It doesn't mean they are.
And you know what? We have a duopoly in the United States. Two different parties can make things look like they're open, but they're not.
I think you're getting into cronyism, and there's the corporate influence that we have.
Exactly.
And
so once again,
that is a problem.
Once again,
I wouldn't.
I can refute. I can seriously use your same logic on the United States. I'm just being consistent with your logic. That's all.
Well,
That's all I'm doing.
It's a false equivalence because we have more competition among corporate powers than Russia's oligarchs.
Allegedly,
in Russia, it's a tiny club controlling everything, and I know in the U.S. we're approaching that point because of the consolidation of wealth, but it is not to the point where these people in power have the final say. They actually don't. You think they liked Trump?
I don't know actually.
Okay.
I mean, Trump did really push their agenda in 2020 during that time. So.
I was actually kind of surprised to see him go along with the science on the vaccines because I would have expected him to be more skeptical.
Yeah, me too, and he would have been right if he were. But
well, that can be another debate for another day. I wanted to explore your Ukraine point of view.
All right, sounds good, man.
Thanks for having me on.
Of course.
See ya.
All right, I thought we had somebody else in there, but I guess they got out. They were waiting too long. Faith is what a person puts their ultimate trust on. Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. Let's see, Russia is only one not controlled by the banks. Maybe. I don't know whether that's true. I don't think Putin is the good guy. I don't think Putin is the good guy. Let's see if there's anything else in here we can go off of. Not go off of, but answer any questions, anything like that. Let's see. All right. So yeah, if nobody else has anything they want to say, ask, then I think we're going to end this one. But yeah, I believe that we covered everything here. And yeah, had some good people on, some good conversations, some good debates. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to tune in. You have a good day as well. Pretty much every day, either at 11 or 1 p.m., depending on the day, I'll be here for about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours is what I can afford. But yeah, guys, it's been a pleasure talking with you. And we'll be back maybe later tonight, depending on if there's some big news dropping off or something like that. But all right, guys, much love. Peace.